Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I wanted to go over my top 3 paddle-tail swim bait combinations for walleyes and why they work in different conditions. I've been fishing paddle-tail swim baits for a long time for walleyes, and they are my #1 producer all year round when it comes to fishing plastics. So I just wanted to go over my favorites and kind of explain to you guys why they work when they work. So make sure you stick around to the end, because I'm going to give you one last tip that you don't want to miss. All right, let's get started with paddle-tail #1. And #1 I have right on this rod right here. I've been smacking fish on this all morning, and that is a 3/8 ounce VMC Moon Eye jig with one of the new Rapala Crush City Mayors on the back in the perch color. This is a 3-inch. This combination is absolutely killer anywhere there's walleyes chasing panfish, and usually that's happening around weed beds. So deeper weeds, weed edges, especially later in the summer like this. This is my favorite bait for swimming. So I'm gonna swim this bait along the edge of the weeds and just make it cruise real slow. That tail thumps really nicely, lots of vibration. And then also, this works great for a swim and drop method, which I use a lot, where I just let it sink to bottom and I pull it up, swim it for about 3-4 feet, let it drop to bottom. That is a killer combination, and that's what I was doing this morning to catch a whole bunch of walleyes and smallmouth. So that's combination #1, especially around weeds, and it's a great bait for walleyes. Now, if they want a little bigger profile, you can use the 4-inch Mayor, but I like to put that on a like 1/2 ounce boxer jig, and it does about the same thing, same action, just a little bit bigger profile. So that's setup #1. #2, I'll get out here, and that is gonna be a 3-inch Euro Tackle B-Vibe. This is a killer bait for snap jigging. Whenever I want this bait to move super erratically, I'm gonna just pop that bait, pop, and that thing's gonna jump off the bottom. It's a nice thin profile, so it doesn't have a lot of resistance. Right now I have it rigged on a 1/4 ounce Moon Eye, but you can use a tungsten jig for this if you want to get a little bit heavier. And that is a great bait for snap jigging. It's just got that perfect thin profile, doesn't have a lot of resistance, and you can really snap it up, and that paddle tail kicks all the way back to bottom. So if you want that erratic retrieve, that profile is great. And it's also great in the springtime on a lighter jig head. It's got kind of that wormy profile, and that tail actually undulates when you jig it slowly along a weed line or up on a rock pile. And it mimics those smaller bait fish that you'll find early in the spring. So that's probably my #1 early spring paddle tail, like around opening weekend and stuff. Great bait for that as well. All right, so combination #3 is one I'm gonna use early in the spring and late in the fall when that water is really cold, say under 45 degrees. And that's gonna be a 3/4 ounce to 1 ounce VMC hardball jig and an Authentics Pulsar minnow. These baits are perfect for slow lift and falls on those river systems when walleyes are spawning in the spring or late in the fall when they're staging. In that cold water, you don't want any fast movements and you don't want fast tail thumps. And these do that really slow thump, down, thump, and they're very effective for those cold water periods. So that is my 3rd combination that you guys should definitely have in your tackle box if you're a serious walleye angler. So now for that tip that I promised. When you're fishing paddle tail swim baits, I don't care if it's early in the spring or in the summer or late in the fall, vary your retrieve until you figure out what those fish want. For instance, this morning I started by snap jigging, didn't get any bites. I went to a straight retrieve, caught a couple fish. I knew there was more fish there, so I started what I call the lift and drop method. So I reel a few turns, swim that bait about 3 or 4 feet, and it goes up off the bottom, and then I just let it fall on a tight line, and they would follow it, and then as soon as it dropped to bottom, you'd feel a thunk. And I was catching fish almost every cast once I switched to that method. So don't just keep throwing them the same way all day. If you're not getting bites, make sure you switch it up. So hopefully that was a helpful video for you guys when it comes to fishing paddle tails for walleyes. Thanks for watching. I'll leave another video for you right here. We'll catch you later. Get hooked up.